our consulting engineers take questions in an orderly fashion, okay? Is there any way you prefer?
No, depending on the question, I'll
Okay.
either Jen will answer it, Phil, or myself.
Okay,
We'll
come
just
on up. Where's
fire
Phil?
the questions and we'll figure out.
All right, Phil, come on up. You and Bruce, take
Yep.
the center stage. Thank you. And Bill Birch, he's our project manager. Okay?
He's got all the funding.
All right, who wants to go first?
Is it possible to just give like a quick, like 5-second synopsis?
Overview?
Yes.
That's a good idea. Want to give an overview? Okay.
Okay, this is the concept development phase for this project, okay? And the department, their capital program delivery process has 4 phases that you have to walk, to get through, to start from where you are today to actual construction. This is the concept development phase. Once you finish this phase, you get into the design, and that's 2 phases, preliminary engineering, final design, and eventually construction. I've answered a lot of questions already. How long is it going to take before the bridge gets built, and how long is it going to take to build? From today, where we're at with this phase, we're at least 5 years out from a start of construction, no matter what alternative the department picks.
I have a question.
Moving forward. Yep.
You're speaking like this is a done deal.
No.
The bridge gets built. That's what you said.
Well, a solution is going to come out of this process, okay? Whether it be a no-build, whether it be a major rehabilitation, or whether it be replacement, a solution will come out of this phase of the process. So I'm speaking from that perspective.
In the concept development phase, we try to identify the preferred alternative, take public comment, we look at different alternatives.
I'd like to know how many people in this room are in favor of that big bridge like on 35?
Against it?
No, in favor of it.
0.
Okay, there's your answer. There's nobody in this room.
No way.
If you had it down, now you know.
Especially if I want to keep my business.
Yeah,
no way.
that would help.
And that's fine, but the process requires us to look at it. This is a federal funded project. The process requires that if you start in this project, from day one, from concept development to construction, this is the process you have to follow.
Can you tell me how this started?
Yeah, it started as a problem statement within DOT. They have management systems for various problems, drainage, pavement. They also have a management system for structures. This one is borderline structural deficient. So it came up on the structures management list as a problem. And then from there, those problems get graduated into a concept development phase for moving forward for a solution to go into design and construction. Okay? So that's
It's coming up as deficient, there's section loss in the steel, it's been flooded out numerous times, the machine house is low, every time there's a storm. We had a contract in 2013, we had a contract in 2011. It's just, and if you look at pictures, you look at the structural reports, you have rust and loss of sections, so when you analyze all the alternatives that you could possibly think of for a project, you look at that, you come down to a high-level fixed and replace the bridge at its same location. Everything else is just not.
Is there any reason why the bridge couldn't be replaced as it is?
It is, that's the option.
That's the option.
That is the option.
The 2 boards behind you, that is the option.
It may be raised 6 inches, but that's the option.
Oh, that is.
We can live with that.
Yeah, I would think, right? That would be.
Your estimated, or maybe objectives for the different construction, the time?
Right.
For the different construction plans?
Right. They're pretty much the same, no matter what alternative, because of the fact that we're going to do stage construction with any alternative that's elected. Again, if the department elected to do a rehab, the bridge would certainly be staged in the summer months because of how vital the structure is to the local businesses. So we've developed a plan to stage that construction in the summer months. We would work with both communities to see if the towns could live with a full detour in the off-season. That's to be determined.
Yeah, we didn't get into that yet.
So therefore, 6 months is not one of the objectives.
Right.
6 months.
Yeah, we haven't figured out time.
So that's
Not an option?
that's to be
No,
worked.
it's not.
That's to be worked with both communities, but at least during the summer months, when everybody's down here and everything's, alive, there would definitely be at least 1 lane allowed in each direction and a sidewalk. But that's just because that's how wide the bridge is You can't put everybody out, you can't put any more lanes out there because that's how wide the bridge is.
Some
Okay,
of our
with that, how
businesses
long-
aren't just, some of our businesses aren't just summertime.
Okay, and
My
that's,
dive business is 12 months out of the year.
and I understand, that's why I said we will work with both towns to see if, you know, what can everybody live with as far as when you can close the bridge down, because the longer you put constraints on the contractor, the longer it takes to get the bridge done.
Well, yeah, I don't wanna, that's in the future. Right now, we gotta get through
Right.
the alternative.
Excuse me,
Okay,
ladies first.
Yep, go ahead.
you refer to the diagrams behind you. That's a fixed bridge that you're referring to here. And where does that versus this one, which is the drawbridge, that doesn't,
Drawbridge is there.
No.
Oh, no, they moved, I'm sorry, they moved, I don't know, they got moved
Okay,
around.
so-
Yeah, this is the drawbridge option, that's the fixed bridge option.
yeah, you just want to make sure we're
Studying?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're tasked with studying every single possible alternative that the DOT has at their disposal as a solution for these bridges. So it's either remove the bridge completely, we have to study what happens if you remove the bridge completely, no build. Rehab options, so I've studied 3 different rehabilitation options, either removing the deck and replacing it, removing the deck and the steel and replacing it, or repairing the deck and repairing the steel, and taking care of some of the resiliency issues that we've got with the storm surge. So all those rehab options we study, replacement alternatives, which are the high-level fixed alternative, a low-level fixed alternative, which is impossible with the marine traffic, but we have to study it, low-level, movable, mid-level, movable, different movable alternatives, online, offline, with detour, without detour. All of those alternatives are studied and presented to the DOT with their costs, their durations, their impacts.
Right.
And who
Yeah,
makes
most
the
of-
ultimate decision
Excuse me.
on which
DOT.
DOT make the...
I'm a little vertically challenged. Anyway, as I understand this, I came in late, I'm a stone's throw from the bridge, right down the street here. You said the crux of this study was started because it was determined to be structurally compromised, as it is. Who made that determination?
That's documented, the state is mandated by the federal government to do a bridge inspection of a bridge every 2 years.
Okay,
Okay.
and the last inspection they determined is to be structurally obsolete.
It's not structurally deficient yet, it's on the borderline of being structurally deficient. So-
Because I contend that to repair this, as whomever mentioned, I think this gentleman, to repair from the top down, take the road out, the structural steel, leave the caissons as it is got to be a small fraction of what it would be. I mean, there are other issues here locally, I don't want to get personal, that could be addressed that would certainly, from the cost of repairing this as opposed to replacing it, would ameliorate the circumstances without going to, I mean, I don't know what the projected cost is, but it has to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars to put a higher bridge in there. It's got to be way up
It's
there.
higher, it's about the same for both. with
To
both
repair
options.
and replace?
No.
Oh.
Replacement costs are about the same.
Oh, but
Yes, you're right, there's a big differential between
how big is that
repair.
difference?
Well, we have to study what the cost of the bridge replacement would be today, but we also have to study the life cycle costs.
Meaning, what does that mean, life cycle?
So we have to look at what dollar expenditure would be made in each year starting today
Okay.
and for the life of the structure. So if we were to build a brand-new bridge today, the current design standard is the design for 75 years.
I
So
see.
today,
That's what- yeah. This is
today-
90 as we speak.
Right, so some of them last longer, some of them we design for 100, we design for 75 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you would start that clock, that counting dollar figure today.
Right.
If I put $100 million replacing that bridge today, it's $100 million today, and then each subsequent year, what costs would be,
Right, I understand.
would have to be spent. If you repair this bridge, the timber foundations that exist under the bridge were built in the 1930s. We don't know what condition they're in. There's no way to find out what condition they're in.
Timber foundation,
They're timber piles.
you mean under the caissons?
Yeah, so each of the piers here is sitting on a timber foundation, timber pile foundation. You drive timber piles, you drive 100-foot-long pine trees into the mud,
Right.
put a cribbing on top of it, build your bridge.
Everything is ephemeral, it's passing.
So we don't know how long they'll last. If you were to put a superstructure replacement, so if you were to do replace the steel, replace the deck, we would design that for 75 years, not knowing if you'd get 75 years out of the timber piles.
Yeah, it won't be my concern at that point.
So, but to just explain, so the way that we study the life cycle costs, you repair the bridge today.
Right.
You put that low figure on the books now,
Right.
and then in 37 years, halfway through the life of the bridge, you expect that you're going to replace it anyway. So if you repair it today, we're going to, all of us, 37 years from now, we're going to have the same conversation. What are we going to do about the permanent replacement?
Okay.
And then that dollar figure, $100 million today, gets put in 37 years from now dollars.
Understood, yeah.
So every single alternative is studied on a 75-year lifespan and compared.
Because there's really only volume of traffic here between mid-September and to mid-June, and then it really increases because of the summer months. Has there been any thought to restricting the tonnage of the vehicles going over the bridge, which wouldn't, how shall I say, impact the bridge as much, like nobody over 10 tons?
The bridge is not structurally deficient right now. It posts, right?
Yeah.
So it rates for current design standards.
Right.
So it
As
doesn't.
time goes on, if that happens, it will certainly be something we would look at.
Yeah, because, a vehicle with, over 10 tons has an impact vibration-wise on the bridge. And if it's like not at that point right now, has there been any consideration to getting another evaluation of how structurally compromised this really is? Or just it's left to one person, or that's an objective analysis?
It's done every 2 years,
done every 2
and not the same firm does the.
But only that one firm looks at it, though?
Well, one at a time, like I said, it's mandated to look at every 2 years.
We look at it every 2 years.
If it's problematic, where there is a problem that needs to be monitored, the frequency increases.
I'm just trying to think, where is this on the list of to-do projects? I mean, the infrastructure of the state, the taxpayers, will confirm, is compromised. Is this really up the list? It doesn't seem to have that much traffic, that high up, really. I'm surprised to hear that, because we don't have the volume of traffic here. I mean, I live here in winter a lot of times, not the whole winter, but
Not necessarily.
you don't see anybody.
Not always necessarily the volumes. In this particular case, it gets flooded out.
You have a question over here.
Okay, thank you.
Flooded out as in Sandy?
Yeah, storms.
Dust storm? That was the flood.
Yeah.
That's when the machinery burned out.
That's true.
But I don't see that happening a lot. I know, granted, that the machinery's underneath, and that's an issue, and if we had to do it all over again, we would have put it up higher.
Right.
But that's what we're talking flooded out.
That's what we're talking flooded out. And we had a contract in 2013.
Have dollars been allocated for this project, so we're approved for dollars
Yep.
at this point?
It competes with all the other projects.
I would like to say thank you very much, because there's a lot of competition for this kind of money from the Department of Transportation, so thank you for considering our small, apparently untraveled bridge. So thank you. I think a lot of the people here are very concerned because the bridge has been closed a number of times over the past, since Sandy. It was closed because of Sandy, and then more recently, since I've been here, traffic was limited. And what really causes a problem are the big orange signs and the mess, and it's just scary. People can see it from blocks away, and it really does keep business traffic out of our business streets. So while I, for one, am all for replacing the bridge with something similar to what's there now, not the big skyscraper bridge, because that would completely change the dynamic of both towns. But like just in that, like the same bridge, just for 75 years would be fantastic. What can we do? My concern is the construction process and what we can do to minimize that amount of time, because it seems really long and really cumbersome, but also how can we help the businesses through that time if it's inevitable? What can we do to keep it as the least unappealing that we can?
Right now, we're a little too early for that process. We've got to get through concept development into our next phase. And then we'll get into preliminary engineering and final design. And that'll be the phase where we try to figure out how we're going to stage it, how we're going to build it, the impacts to the community. So as Bruce has some very preliminary schemes of construction, but nothing.
We know for sure you can stage it.
Right.
You
can build it without.
It's a matter of what the limits of the time are that both communities.
What's the timeline again? That you just mentioned before?
Well, the timeline, I would say you won't see, you gotta go through concept development. We're hoping to finish it up this fall. Okay, if we're lucky. Now we go into the next phase of work, which is preliminary engineering. Under the federal process and the federal register, the preliminary engineering phase, for all 50 states in the entire country, is the phase of work where you get your environmental document. You secure the environmental document under the NEPA laws, 1969 National Environmental Policy Act. We do that phase. We take the preliminary, we take the preferred alternative from concept development, and we develop it. Further, get an environmental document. Once we get an environmental document, Federal Highway says you're in final design, considered in the final design phase, and that process will go on for a year and a half, depending on how much right-of-way, if there's right-of-way involved. So we're projecting at least 4 years out.
And then construction is?
Construction, how long?
Be 4 years there, because again, depending on, no matter what alternative you select, maybe on the rehab on the lower end, but on a replacement, it'll be on the higher end.
So when I say right away, I mean acquire, the state would acquire land in order to build a project, whether it be an easement, driveway easement.
And again, that duration is driven a lot by restrictions you're putting on the contractor to keep the bridge open while you're replacing it. If you let them have full access, you can do it faster, but it sounds like both sounds like both towns obviously can't live with that, and that's fine. That's why we've looked at a staging option.
Right? Folks, you gotta look at the high level fixed. You gotta make sure that you're not discounting something that, could actually occur. In this particular case, it doesn't. Not.
I have a question. When you're doing your concept development for the high level fixed, do you take into account the economic impact on businesses that would be basically affected negatively as far as their right-of-way, their access to the customers?
Yeah, we compare everything even, life cycle cost. It's all compared on an even bar. Correct, we do.
How do we, but you said whatever is engineered preferred, and one gentleman who did a straw man, but that's obviously not very conclusive in a scientific way. How do we all register what we prefer so that your indication of preference reflects, is there,
That's a very good question. I'll have Denise field that. Yeah.
Can we hear the question again, do you mind?
How do the people who are here register their preference so that you get clear input from people which approach they prefer?
Thank you.
Well, first of all, through every phase of the process, the local, elected local officials will be informed every step of the way. We'll come out and present to them again our preferred alternative. And
we ask for a resolution of support from the town.
We ask for a resolution of support at that time. And we will have another public meeting to get your input. And this is exactly how you register your vote with us. Okay, and your elected officials as well.
Through elected officials, that's how you do it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
The larger bridge, is that in the process of eminent domaining properties around with the larger bridge?
That would require property acquisition. Definitely have an impact.
What's property acquisition? Eminent domain or there's differences, so you're being vague, so I want to know, is it eminent domain?
It's eminent domain.
That's all.
Next question.
That, like we were saying, that fixed bridge is not the preferred alternative at this point with DOT, right? The preferred alternative is a replacement to the drawbridge. That looks like it makes the most sense at this point, right?
At this point, we don't know. Without the right-of-way costs, we don't know. So we're in the preliminary phases of the concept development. We have not picked our preferred alternative yet. We are here to solicit input for.
Right, well, we pretty much have. Yeah. Preferred alternative is the replacement in kind of a movable.
But that's not set yet. That's not set yet. And just to confirm that is not set yet. I want everyone in this room that your preferred alternative currently right now is this fixed one, replace it in kind, but that's Not official. Not official. The Department of Transportation is not officially saying we're proposing this.
That's what we're proposing right now. We haven't published the report yet.
Okay. So what
That's where it's
happens, I'm just saying, what happens down the road, the DOT ends up changing their mind and they think the high-rise one is the way to go.
Then we'll have another public meeting.
Thank you.
But this
Exactly, and that's what we're trying to say. We haven't finished everything. I don't know how much percentage we are finished, but 75%.
But a replacement drawbridge is a proposed solution to our problem, right?
That seems like
Well,
the consensus.
the strongest
That's
proposal.
what we're hearing. Unless I hear any,
And that's in the same footstep that present bridge is.
yes, it's on the same alignment, right? Identical, same alignment. It may be vertical.
Let Jen speak.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, got outdated information. It's how much?
3-foot shift to the west. Because of the construction, we have to construct a new bridge right next to the existing bridge. There has to be some room for us for the construction.
So it's a slight shift.
Slight shift.
You're gonna cut the existing bridge in half, right down the middle, and you've gotta build half of the new bridge right next to half of the existing bridge. The farther away you can do that for a movable bridge, the better, because you're gonna be putting new foundations in the ground right next to an existing movable span. They're very sensitive to settlement. So if you start constructing next to that bridge and the bridge starts to move, you lose the movable functionality of the bridge. So the idea is to try to pick a construction approach that minimizes that potential. So we try to push it a little bit away, and also so that the new movable span can move while the existing movable span is replaced in the next phase.
If we don't know exactly what's wrong with this bridge, and we don't know, and only one firm has done an evaluation on that, how can we make a decision whether or not we want to fix this bridge or go through getting another bridge? And without a PIC, we were given in 2010, October 6, 2010, until May 20th, 2011, this bridge was closed with no PIC whatsoever and 6 days' notice. And the harm that it did to the businesses on both sides of the bridge is incalculable. Some of us are still recovering from that. So it would really be important for us to know what it would take with a couple of firms evaluating what's wrong with this bridge.
We already evaluated what's wrong with it. What we're trying to do is determine what is the correct solution.
Yes. Well, we don't know what's wrong with it. We would like to see materials on there's a crack here, there's something there. We would like to know what it would take to repair this bridge as opposed to what it would take to replace this bridge. I think it's really important that we have another firm, maybe we'll hire our own engineer to find out what's wrong with this bridge, because we know last time it happened, there were a lot of mysterious things that went on, a lot of standing around, nobody got stuff done. It was watched, we saw it happen, and we were all screwed.
It took 2 months. It took 2 months just for someone to put a sign up saying the road is still open, and yes, people do exist at the foot of the bridge. 2 months. I used to have to walk the cones out of the way, and then they would be put right back again. That road's closed. It's not closed. We have a business to run. We have goods and services to provide our community. And there was no one we could talk to.
There's no one?
No?
Nope. No. Nobody.
Yeah, okay.
Is there going to be a study about how many cars do go back and forth? You know, one of those marker indicators that we lay across the road?
It's been done already.
Has it really?
Yeah, it was
when
part
was
of this
that
study.
done?
In July. Past July.
Okay, and how long was that done for?
It was done for a whole week.
A week. I mean, with all this time that we have here, why isn't that study being done for a full year, summer and winter?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of traffic that goes by through here.
Well, we try to look at the
A week is a
worst.
joke.
We try to pick the time frame where the traffic is the highest.
And do you think that's reasonable, 1 week?
Yeah, I mean, that was, we determined that was the peak season sometime in the summer months. And, you know, we picked that particular week. You know, we done it in August.
Would it have been that much of a differential? That's the question. I think we got a good sample of what's, what the traffic's out there.
You'd like to see it
In the
done
summer.
for an entire year?
Absolutely.
All our businesses were practically destroyed. If you can fix that bridge, that would be the ideal thing. Fix it fast, fix it well.
Don't close the bridge.
Yes, sir.
First of all, he asked questions and I had some.
I have a question about the format of this session. I'm Terry Lynch from Belmar. I was not here at 4 o'clock, so I've missed whatever presentation was made. Since the session is from 4 to 7, will there be periodic presentations? And how do you collect input from all of us? And is there any literature that we can look at and take with to understand the situation?
Excuse me, I'll answer that. This meeting it was supposed to be informal with no questions and answer period. Just you guys, look around, and if you had questions, the consulting engineer would be more than happy to answer them, or DOT. All the literature, frankly, is gone because we had such a massive amount of people tonight.
It's up on your website, though.
Yes, it is. It is. And
We
if
do have
there's-
sign-in sheets.
I thought the meeting was where we have our input. So
Well-
why wouldn't you ask me questions?
Yeah, we are.
No, we
That's
want
what
you,
we said.
we want you to ask questions. Thank you.
When are
That's why
the
we're
other
here.
meetings going to come for the town, people who have not been notified?
It's already been scheduled,
May 7th.
May 7th?
June 7th.
June 7th.
Okay, they should be publicized so people can prepare.
Well, first of all, I want to apologize to anyone that did not receive their notice. This meeting tonight was for businesses, and we have another one scheduled June 7th for all the residents.
General public.
For anybody that would like to come, but we thought tonight to have them separately would be better to get the input from the businesses first, and then we would meet with the residents.
Could you give us more advance notice? Because I just found out at the end of last week, and some people didn't find out at all, but at least a week or so for scheduling?
Well, it is my understanding that the notices went out a week ago Tuesday.
We can give you more
and on
advance notice.
Thursday. You will definitely get it before that.
And guarantee that each house has one.
Well, I can't, I mean, it'll be addressed, whether the post office delivers or not, I can't guarantee that, so.
It'll be mailed.
There's another question right here.
My questions are, have any studies been done and are there any available reports about the impact on the neighborhoods and businesses that are going to be affected? I'm assuming the new bridge, if it were erected without a drawbridge, would be significantly higher. That's going to have a visual impact that's going to definitely have a negative effect on property values in Belmar, without question. Have anybody done any studies or reports relating to this? The economic impact and the impact on the characteristics of the community. Because you put up a big structure like that, I've worked in government for 40 years, anything under that bridge is gonna die in the shade, whether it's a business or residence. The bridge, if it's as high as the one on 35, those people over there can have shadows cast on their house at the end of the day. I am not for putting up a higher bridge. I think that would bring more negatives to the community than we need. And it would definitely negatively impact every business. I recognize that the new bridge without a drawbridge may increase traffic flow. That's not necessarily a good thing, because people are just going to blow through, not even stop at the businesses. I can hear Route 35 from B Street now, especially when a truck is cold rolling. It's a problem. This is only going to increase more traffic, speed them up regardless of what the speed limit is, and create even more noise at night. Plus air pollution, which would come with increased traffic, but the visual impact of this huge bridge, I think, would be a negative for us. At what point, if they were to put up the bigger bridge, would they start to increase the grading to go up and over? 7th, 8th, what street would they start at in Belmont? I wasn't here, I apologize for being late.
That's fine.
But it took 10 minutes to find
On
the
the
parking.
chart there.
It's not the best location.
7th and Jefferson.
Right in front of the high school.
I'll tell you right now,
That block through the three streets in Belmont. It'll destroy everything.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Just a moment, please.
I'd rather those bridges over. If you'd like to come to Avon from Belmont, we walk to the western side. And I don't see this type of a bridge as a problem for the community.
So the reason why we start back this far, it's not an arbitrary decision. There's certain design guidelines from the FHWA that dictate what is a safe gradient at speeds. So when we study all these different alternatives, we're mandated that you can't go over a certain point. So that kind of sets that angle. The navigable waterway is governed by the U.S. Coast Guard. They are empowered by Congress to keep that waterway open.
And that's the issue.
So the 35 bridge is 50 feet. We don't have our Coast Guard permit yet, but when we get it, we expect that it would be about that. To get that.
If we were to get it.
If we were to get it.
We're not getting it.
Anybody here think that's a beautiful looking bridge? Because I know.
So if you're trying to get that number to fit, and that number to fit, that's where you end up.
40 years planning and zoning.
If you look there, you can see all the impacts.
But she's after me, okay? She's been waiting.
She's after you?
Yes.
Why they want to go before you?
I don't even know her. I was talking to the lady at the desk earlier. The biggest problem, I know you said you mailed, I haven't, let me start over. I'm just frustrated. I have a business on Main Street in Belmont. The only way I got notified about this meeting is a business owner in Avon passed out information to the businesses in Belmont. I have not received, I did not get a letter. Apparently it was mailed twice. My husband and I work the business. I don't have millions of people. Also, the last time the bridge was closed for 10 months, I got a week's notice from the borough of Belmont that the bridge was being closed. I had no, I couldn't put anything together to combat that. We could have, as a business community, come together and said, let's do this. Even both communities, we could have came together and said, let's get a Facebook page. Let's tell people we're open. You gave us no notice, none. And even today we come here, there's not even a name tag that says, talk to me, I'm in charge. I walk around and look for guys in suits, and I ran into Mark Walsifer, who's wearing a suit. And I'm like, well, it's not him, okay? The communication is awful, okay?
I know the communication was bad in 2010, I get that.
And it was bad this time around. It was bad this time
I'm a
around.
business owner in Belmont, and I did not get notified either. And I'm right at the foot of the bridge.
I just bought the marina across the street, and I never received any notice of this meeting. I found out about it in the newspaper from Claire. So, I mean, I don't understand what's happening. I'm arguably, myself and Joe are probably the two most affected by this of anyone in this room. And I think it's amazing that you guys are trying to pass something like this through without speaking to the community.
And this lady
in fact, I heard that
next.
there's different rumors. I don't know, I haven't had the time to go through the proposals yet, but there's rumors about the bridge being closed for certain months and certain, time periods. We're business owners, we eat year-round. These are year-round businesses. I don't understand what you guys are proposing here.
Question?
This lady was
Gentlemen, can you tell me if, in accordance with the National Environmental Policy Act, you are in fact doing an impact study?
An impact study?
Absolutely, yes.
Yes.
You are. Well, last time you didn't do it. And I complained that the bridge was closed over 2 years. They built the Empire State Building in 1 year. If you guys are going to renovate the bridge, what guarantee do we have that you're going to have a crew working 24/7?
We probably won't have a crew working 24/7.
Well, last time, because the impact study wasn't done, one of the businesses in Avon closed. The shame was that the gentleman had finance to put up his house to open the business, and then finally he went to an attorney to seek resolution, and it came down to the fact that you can't sue the state, or it's almost impossible. And what guarantee, I have a business in town, what guarantee do I have that you guys are going to do an impact study?
But we are, we're going through it concept development phase. We're going
And
through all
what-
the alternatives.
And will we
then
be
the pl-
notified?
The next phase is the preliminary engineering phase, in accordance with federal highway regulation and the Federal Register. That's the phase where we develop the alternative and seek an environmental document, whether it be a categorical exclusion, an environmental assessment, an EIS, whatever the different levels of environmental documents there are.
Okay, and who's in charge of that? Is that the DOT?
Yep, NJDOT.
Will we be advised?
Yes,
Will
sir.
we be kept abreast? Because last time, I mean,
Yeah,
I
I'm
called
getting that.
everybody, you dropped the ball, I mean, it's just crazy.
I'm going to jump in and just kind of introduce myself. I'm John McGurney, I'm the local mayor in Avon. I want you guys to be aware, this is supposed to be an information meeting to get some general questions. It's very preliminary. I think it's important that you guys come out. As a mayor in Avon, we're very concerned about the prospect of the bridge project. We're going to do our best to stay on top of it. Certainly, if you guys have questions, TOT is the first stop, but the second stop, or even at the same time, check with Borough Hall. We're very concerned with it. We recognize the impact it had on the residents in 2010, and we don't want to see that happen again. But we wanted to provide this. The DOT asked to come out and do this to kind of get the information out to people as quickly and as early as possible. We're 4 or 5 years away from starting the project, but isn't it great to hear 5 years early just to get the public aware of what the project's going to be, giving you the voice to talk to them directly? So, as much as I know it's your business, it's your livelihood, how important it is to you, take the benefit of asking the questions, learn the project. The town will be involved in it every step of the way. If we have information, we're going to push it out to the public as the best we can. So, as I said, I thank the guys for coming out. I thank you for fielding the questions. The session is going from 4 to 7, so they're going to stick around and take some more questions. We weren't expecting, I don't think they were ready for
we weren't
the
expecting
response
the
to the public coming out.
But we're here.
So they're still here for questions. If you want to do it on an individual basis, they understand what happened in 2010. I don't know if they were part of the project then. I wasn't in office then. The new mayor in Belmar wasn't in office then as the mayor. We want to get it out to people. It impacts us, and we're going to try to do the right thing. If the bridge is in dire need, you can look outside and see the cracks in the foundation. It's an 80-plus-year-old bridge. It probably does need some work done. If I had I will not look at that fixed-span bridge. I don't think that's an option the town would welcome in any stretch of the imagination. Everything has to be on the table till they decide. Then they come back to us and then we can give us our opinion.
I'd like to thank Mr. Birch for taking all these questions.
What's that?
I'd like to thank him for taking all these questions unexpectedly, and
Brian,
I'm glad I don't have your job.
My name is Brian Montgomery. I'm the new mayor from Belmar. I'd like to, again, thank you for coming out. I'm sure you people are going to be able to build a great bridge. You don't know how to run a public meeting, no. It's not your expertise, I understand that. I think further down the road, we need another public meeting where people are sitting down, there's a microphone so everyone can hear, and there can be an orderly stand-up of people asking questions. Some of these questions are fantastic. Some people really have some questions about the bridge, but I'm sure you're smart enough to answer them, and you will answer them. But this bridge is going to really impact the two towns, not just Belmar and Avon. It's going to impact Bradley Beach, Asbury Park, Spring Lake, because it's a continual Main Street from Spring Lake all the way to Allenhurst. So it's going to affect everybody. Appreciate you coming down. Wish you stay in touch with the borough administrators, and hope there's another meeting. When could you do another meeting like this?
Scheduled for June 7th.
June 7th. And if you get out, well, if you get it to us, we have robocalls where we can get it out to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Everybody clap, come on. You're so impolite.